Yo, what is up guys? It's me, Zachary. Everyone has one. That one old photo that they hope never sees the light of day again. That one picture that they wish was never taken. In Anthony Davis's case, that one video they wish was never taken.
The fans have never seen anything like this in their lives before.
Anyways, back on track. Everybody has that one photo or video. Even one of the leading Defensive Player of the Year nominees, Draymond Greens. See, before he was a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, he was a bench player. Before he was a bench player, he was a second round pick. Before he was a second round pick, he was a star for Michigan State University. And before he was a star for MSU, he was, he needed a haircut. Look at this. Alright, I get that it's just a fro, you know. He did say one of his biggest inspirations growing up was Ben Wallace, who was famous for his fro. But I don't know, just something about this picture just doesn't seem right. Especially since we know this guy is a star in the NBA now. Maybe he just needs to smile a little, something. Draymond looks like he just blew a 3-1 lead in the finals or something. Speaking of the finals, they start in a few days, June 1st. I cannot wait for June 1st. The Cavaliers versus the Warriors. Look, we all know the Warriors are the favorites to win. How can you not be with a team that has Draymond, Curry, Durant, and Thompson? Easily one of the best teams the league has ever seen. And even though the Cavs have Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love, and LeBron James, they are considered by basically everyone to be the underdogs. Basically everyone though, not everyone, as Kevin Love doesn't think the Cavs are underdogs in this fight, as he said yesterday that he thinks they match up well with Golden State.
The whole underdog thing is funny because, yeah, at the end of the day, we are defending the title, trying to repeat, which is so hard to do. But, no, I mean, I think we will use it as fuel, we will use it as motivation, but as far as the idea of like playing into it, you know, it's tough for me to say that is the case. I don't feel like we're underdogs. I think we match up well with them, and I think they say the same about us.
Well, I'll say this, they match up just about as evenly as anyone could hope to against the Warriors. I mean, it would be nearly impossible to try and build a team as talented as Golden State is right now. Just look at the Spurs and the Celtics, for example. People have been saying all season long they just need to add this player or add that player, but the reality of it is they can't add this player or add that player because they can't afford to without having to completely gut their depth. Look, we talked about Isaiah Thomas's willingness to take a pay cut or delay signing an extension to try and help the team to bring in more talent yesterday. Then a couple of days ago, we talked about how the Spurs would need to let a bunch of their free agents this year walk and then still shed like $15 million more in cap space if they wanted to sign CP3. So getting talent like the Warriors have through free agency or trade is nearly impossible, which is why I said the Cavs match up just as well as you could possibly hope to with the Warriors. And that is also why I'm looking forward to these finals so much. But that being said, Kevin Love, you guys are the underdogs. Not to the extent where, you know, no one sees you winning or anything like that, because a bunch of people do have the Cavs winning it all, but the majority of people, even people who don't even like Golden State for some reason, and they had to put money on it, they bet on the Warriors, which makes the Cavs the underdogs. But the Cavs are also the underdogs last year, and we know how that turned out. Respect greatness. That is all I can say. If you don't respect greatness by now, then you really need to wake up. 7 straight NBA Finals. 7! Yo, how many other players in NBA history can say that they were even able to go to the finals 7 times, let alone 7 times in a row? Exactly. James is on a whole nother level than the rest of the league. Yo, he is just a natural born winner. No other way to describe it. So, like I said, y'all better respect greatness when you see it. Dwayne Wade, his former teammate, sees it. Even though he almost forgot, he still remembered to pay his respects to King James for making it to the finals for his 7th straight year on Twitter. Oh, shame on me. Congrats to my bro James Jones making it to his 7th straight finals. Real winners know your worth. Hashtag best teammate ever. Like I said, man, true greatness is hard to find, but you'll know it when you see it. And James Jones just radiates greatness. How can anyone ever hate on this man when any team that signs him automatically makes it to the finals without him even having to get up off the bench? Chris Paul. All Lakers fans just got triggered. You mentioned the name Chris Paul to a Lakers fan and they completely lose their mind. We could have had so many more rings if David Stern didn't have it out for us. You know, they hate David Stern and everything that he stands for ever since he vetoed that Chris Paul to the Lakers trade back in 2011. But as it turns out, maybe, just maybe, Stern isn't completely to blame here. Now hold up, Lakers fans, before you get your pitchforks, let me explain, or at least let me say what David Stern said so he can explain, and then we'll pass judgment on him. All right, so David Stern opened up yesterday about what really went down during the CP3 to LA negotiations back in 2011. So the original trade was going to be Chris Paul to the Lakers, Paul Gasol to the Rockets, Kevin Martin, Luis Scola, and Lamar Odom, Goran Dragic, and a 2012 first round pick to the Hornets. But of course that trade got vetoed. No one knew exactly why, but the league was the owner of the New Orleans Hornets back then, so David Stern could veto any trades that he felt weren't fair to the team. And according to Stern, the three teams then began to renegotiate the deal, and the deal was basically done until Mitch Kupchak, who was recently fired as the GM of the Lakers, panicked and messed up the trade. In the course of the weekend, we thought we could redo the deal. We really thought that Houston would be ready to part ways with Kyle Lowry, and we had a trade lined up for Lamar Odom that would have gotten us a good first round draft pick. Not we, but my basketball folks. But Mitch Kupchak at the time panicked and moved Odom to Dallas, so the piece wasn't even there for us to play with at the time. So that was it. Just about what was good for the New Orleans Hornets. So this isn't really 100% too clear, because Stern said the original trade was CP3 to LA, Gasol to Houston, Martin, Scola, Odom, Dragic, and a first round pick to New Orleans, and that trade got vetoed and it fell through. Fine. And then I guess they revisited the talks because Stern thought that they could also get Lowry from Houston. And then Mitch Kupchak panicked for some reason and the trade fell through, all because he traded Lamar Odom to Dallas. Lamar Odom to Dallas blew this trade, I guess. That's ridiculous because Lamar Odom wasn't even the same player that he used to be. He was a shell of his former self. He was at the tail end of his career, so it's not like Lamar Odom was such a pivotal piece in the trade. Maybe it was just because the salaries need to match up, because I'm sure no one really wanted Lamar Odom that badly back then. And that was it. That's how this whole trade thing went down. And after reading this and now saying it out loud and being kind of confused about it, I can now say with complete confidence that Lakers fans, y'all have every right in the world to be upset with Stern for vetoing the trade in the first place. And then, if this thing about them revisiting the talks and the deal was basically done and Mitch Kupchak panicked for who knows what reason and he botched the deal by trading Odom to Dallas, then you guys have a right to be even more upset with him as well. I mean, overall, this story just seems off though. Like, I don't see why Kupchak would just panic. That just doesn't make sense. Or maybe he did panic over something, but Stern wasn't giving us all of the crucial details. There's just so many questions that still need to be answered. And it upsets me too, because it robbed us of ever seeing a Kobe-LeBron matchup in the finals. Like, Stern, I get that the league owned New Orleans and you were trying to look out for the team's best interest, supposedly. What about the league's best interest? Do you know how great of a final series that could have been? LeBron versus Kobe? Do you know how high the ratings for a LeBron versus Kobe finals would have been? It is a real shame that all of us NBA fans never got to witness that because of a veto trade. And that's gonna bring us to the question of the day. And today's question is this: what do you think about the whole Chris Paul trade scenario thing? Do you think Stern was telling the truth and that the trade was about to go through and then Kupchak panicked and blew it all up by trading Lamar Odom to Dallas? Why was Lamar Odom such a crucial piece in this trade? Let me know down in the comment section below, but now let's take a look at what you guys said from yesterday's video. And yesterday, after Durant said he's not to blame for the NBA being less competitive, I asked you guys what you thought and if you blame Durant for the lack of parity in the NBA. And here's what you said: KD eliminated a solid contender in the West, which would have been fine if he just went to any team who wasn't the Cavs or the Warriors. But he chose to make the Warriors, who were already a contender, better. Hence, he removed a contender and added predictability just so we can have an easier path towards getting his precious ring. Facts. KD is partially right. It's not his fault that some teams are bad, but it is his fault for joining a 73-9 team and having the Warriors as heavy favorites. Majority of the competition right now are still young and up and coming. Bucks, T-Wolves, Celtics, Nuggets, 76ers, etc. In 3 to 5 years, there will be better widespread competition than there is now. Yeah, I'm not gonna blame KD and be like, oh, what he did completely ruined the NBA. It didn't completely ruin the NBA. Did it make it a much more predictable and take some of the fun of it this season? Definitely. But the NBA certainly is not ruined. Like the last guy said, with all these great young up and coming teams, the future of the NBA is honestly looking brighter than ever. And this past regular season was still pretty entertaining. That being said though, hopefully these finals can make up for one of the worst postseasons that I have ever seen. But that about wraps up everything I wanted to talk about today, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to leave a like on it if you did and subscribe for more daily NBA videos. And until tomorrow, keep getting the Bucks, Team ICC, and I'm out of here. Peace!